Fear is the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind. It is an evolutionary mechanism, a biological alarm system hardwired into the amygdala to ensure survival. Without it, a species cannot detect a predator, cannot calculate risk, and cannot survive. Fear is the architect of civilization. It builds walls, forges weapons, and writes laws. But what happens when that mechanism is broken? What happens when a human being is born without the capacity for terror? In the vast, dark archive of the brothers Grimm, amidst tales of morality and magic lies a singular, unnerving case study that defies the standard narrative of heroism. It is the story of the youth who went forth to learn what fear was. This is not a story about bravery. It is a story about a neurological anomaly, a study of the holy fool archetype, and a chilling examination of how society rewards the pathological absence of emotion. The narrative begins in the domestic sphere of a humble medieval household, a microcosm of the social hierarchy. We are introduced to a father with two sons. The elder is clever, prudent, and functional. He possesses the cognitive ability to navigate the world. The younger son is fundamentally different. He is described not as wicked, but as dense, unable to grasp the concept that permeates the lives of everyone around him. The Shudder. In the original German text, the word is Grusel, visceral, physical reaction to the macabre. The boy hears stories of ghosts and executions, sees the trembling of others, yet feels a void where his survival instinct should be. This is our first clue that we are dealing with a deviation from the norm. To his family, he is a burden. To his community, a failure. In the harsh economic reality of peasant life, a son who cannot understand danger is a liability. He cannot guard the flock if he does not fear the wolf. The boy's journey begins with an expulsion. His father, exasperated by the boy's obsession with learning the shuddering, sends him to the sexton, a figure of religious authority. Here the story shifts into a critique of institutional power. The sexton attempts to teach the boy fear through theatrical deception, dressing as a ghost in the bell tower at midnight. This scene represents the first clash between manufactured horror and genuine indifference. A normal mind, conditioned by superstition and the dark, would recoil. The boy, however, operates on cold logic. When the ghost refuses to answer him, the boy does not panic. He pushes the figure down the stairs. He breaks the sexton's leg not out of malice, but out of a pragmatic need to clear his path. This violence is the first indication of the danger inherent in fearlessness. Without the inhibition of fear, the boy lacks the hesitation that prevents violence. He becomes a force of nature, unstoppable, but also unfeeling. Exiled by his father for this assault, the youth wanders into the broader world. The narrative takes us to the foot of the gallows, a ubiquitous symbol of state power in the Middle Ages. 7 men hang from the ropes, a grim warning to the populace. Night falls and the cold sets in. A normal traveler would flee the site of execution, haunted by the specters of death and the rot of the bodies. The boy, feeling only the drop in temperature, creates a fire and cuts the corpses down, engaging in a macabre act of hospitality. He seats them by the fire to warm them. When their clothes catch flame, he scolds them like unruly children. This sequence is profound. It strips death of its metaphysical weight. To the boy, the dead are merely objects that require thermal regulation. He sleeps soundly amidst the carnage. This absolute detachment highlights a terrifying truth. Total fearlessness looks identical to total sociopathy. The ability to treat the dead as furniture is not courage. It is a disconnection from the human condition. The story then pivots to the classic high fantasy trope, the haunted castle. However, viewed through an economic lens, the castle is a distressed asset. The king, the ultimate authority, has a capital problem. He possesses a fortification that is uninhabitable and therefore economically useless due to supernatural infestation. He offers a high-risk, high-reward contract. Endure 3 nights and receive the princess, political power, and the treasury, economic power. Many have tried and died, driving up the value of the reward. The boy accepts not for the gold or the girl, but for the chance to learn shuddering. He is motivated by a desire for self-actualization, while the king is motivated by asset recovery. For 3 nights, the boy is subjected to an escalating series of horrors that symbolize the chaotic forces of the unconscious. Large black cats suggest a card game, inviting him into a pack. The boy examines their claws, their weapons, and trims them, neutralizing the threat through grooming, effectively domesticating the demonic. He is assaulted by disembodied limbs, flying skulls, and a bed that careens through the castle like a wild animal. In every instance, his reaction is aggressively mundane. He plays bowling with the skulls. He uses a lathe to trim the claws of the monsters. He treats the supernatural incursions as administrative annoyances rather than existential threats. This creates a powerful paradox. The demons rely on fear to generate power. Their terror is theatrical. It depends on an audience that reacts. The boy refuses to be that audience. He deconstructs the horror. When a giant old man, symbolizing the dead king or an ancient patriarch, challenges him to a test of strength, the boy traps the spirit's beard in an anvil. He resorts to physical torture to extract the treasure. This is the turning point where the hero becomes more terrifying than the monsters. He beats the spirits into submission, not with holy water or prayers, but with a hammer and leverage. He cleanses the castle through the sheer force of his apathy. The haunting ceases because the mechanism of the haunt, the generation of fear, has failed. By the 4th morning, the economic transaction is complete. The castle is reclaimed, the treasury is secured, and the boy is elevated to the aristocracy through marriage to the princess. Yet the narrative denies us a traditional happy ending. The boy is unsatisfied. He has conquered death and demons, but he has failed his primary objective. He still does not know how to shudder. He possesses the kingdom but lacks the essential human experience of vulnerability. He remains an outsider, a sleeping human who has walked through fire without feeling the heat. The resolution of the tale provides a jarring shift from the Gothic to the domestic, from the supernatural to the biological. The princess, tired of his complaints, seeks a remedy not in magic but in the mundane. She goes to the brook and collects a bucket of cold water teeming with gudgeons, tiny fish. While the boy sleeps, she pours the ice-cold water and the wriggling fish over him. He wakes up screaming, "I shudder, I shudder." This ending is often dismissed as a joke, but it contains the story's deepest psychological insight. The boy could not fear ghosts, demons, and death because those are conceptual fears. They require imagination, a projection of the mind into the future consequences of danger. The boy lacks this cognitive imagination. However, the bucket of fish triggers a primitive, autonomic response. The shock of the cold and the tactile sensation of the fish bypass the brain's logic centers and hit the nervous system directly. He learns to shudder not through the mind but through the body. It is a physiological reaction, not a psychological one. This distinction is vital for understanding the modern relevance of the tale. In clinical terms, the boy exhibits symptoms consistent with Urbach-Wiethe disease, a rare genetic disorder that leads to the calcification of the amygdala. Patients with this condition act remarkably like the boy in the story. They can handle snakes, endure threats, and walk into dangerous situations without a physiological stress response. While this might seem like a superpower, in reality it is a vulnerability. They are unable to recognize social cues of aggression or protect themselves from environmental hazards. Furthermore, the story serves as a critique of the hero. We often conflate fearlessness with bravery, but true bravery is the action taken despite fear. Bravery requires the presence of terror to exist. The boy in the Grimm tale is not brave, he is merely oblivious. His success in the castle suggests that in systems of extreme chaos, war, market collapses, societal upheaval, those who lack empathy and fear often rise to the top. They can make the cold calculations that others cannot. The king rewards the boy because the boy is a useful tool for clearing out the old ghosts. But the story ends with a reminder that such a person is fundamentally incomplete. Ultimately, the youth who went forth to learn what fear was is a subversive text. It argues that fear is not a weakness to be purged, but a vital component of the human soul. To be fully alive is to be vulnerable. To understand the world is to understand that it can hurt you. The boy's final shudder is his baptism into humanity. He has conquered the spirits of the dead, but only the cold shock of reality, the water and the fish, can make him truly part of the living world. He learns that while one can survive without fear, one cannot truly live without the capacity to feel it.